Day 1. You are born. You take a deep breath. It all starts from here. It's true. Everyone has a completely different upbringing and are also born into different environments. But it's fair to say, although elements differ in people's lives, there seems to be a fundamental method to life. Growing up, we learn what is wrong, what is right, what is good, what is bad. You can say we are shaped by our families, but more so our parents. Would you agree? I think it's far deeper than that. Mostly our environment. There seems to be a pattern in life, a ritual if you were. When looking back at your life, do you see certain milestones in life that you tend to share with everyone else? Let's start off with education, simply learning the basics of life. From the time you get ready for your first day of school, to the time you graduate, ready for the next step in further education. College or university, where you are now paying for your education. Finishing this phase of your life with huge debts ready for a career. You have been studying and learning the ways of life for this very moment. Finally, you have landed that dream job. Your dreams are becoming reality, and you begin to pursue a life you've always wanted. Years pass, and the high, happy emotions you once felt have disappeared. Wallow and self-doubt have crept in. You have constantly been asking yourself, this should have been it. Why am I unhappy? Let me stop you here. Look back from the very beginning. You have slowly but surely been getting deeper and deeper into this trap, unknowing. This is called the money trap. In other words, the rat race. I'm going to explain to you what seems to be apparent on the surface but is never noticed, and show you once and for all how to really escape the rat race. There are two bases that form the money trap. One keeps you in the race, and the other removes you from the race. Can it really be that simple? For you to understand how to break free from this, we need to understand what is trapping you. It's ironic, the very issue that forms the foundation of the problem is the same thing that forms the foundation of the solution. If you haven't guessed already, it's money. Money is the means of these two outcomes. By definition, money itself doesn't do anything, but it's how money is treated which forms the outcome. Money, if not controlled correctly, serves your consumption, which means it leaves your life just as quickly as it came in. Having this sort of relationship with money can be extraordinarily damaging and permits you from having freedom of your own life and forever falling deeper and deeper into the trap. On the flip side, having the control of money allows you to use money differently by exchanging money for time. People often refer to this as getting paid in your sleep. Technically, by putting money to work, this allows you to incur interest and compounding, which creates more from what you initially started with. How do you even get to this stage? Depending on who you are and where you come from, you might have a lot of unraveling to do from the programming you have subjected yourself to in your childhood. There seems to be a huge emphasis on saving when you are growing up. Saving is a term that gets way too much exposure and is honestly the downfall of the working and middle class. If you are saving money, you are not using money to its fullest potential. Money is an instrument that needs to be worked. Not only does it need to be worked, there is also no incentive for you to save your money in the first place. With the way inflation works, the more and more money that is just sat in your bank account, the less and less value it will have over time. The entity that controls the monetary system is printing more and more money, which is inflating the supply and therefore lowers the purchasing power of every single dollar you hold. To accompany that, if you've also taken the traditional schooling route all the way to university, you would have amassed a huge amount of debt, and if I can be frank, a degree which is likely not to be used in the future. If you find yourself in this situation, like many others, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Although it's far and yet dim, change can occur. but it needs to start from you. Firstly, change needs to start with the undoing of work which has been embedded and layered into oneself. Everything you have learnt about money needs to be thrown out the window, and you need a newly cleaned hard drive in your mind. Let's break it down. Money is an instrument and needs to be put to work. Money needs to be exchanged for assets to accrue interest and beat the rate of inflation. I know there might be some terms in there that you haven't heard before, but stick with me. By beating inflation, this will then leave you with a surplus of money rather than a deficit. The other element, which is uncontrollable, but one of the most important, is time. Time becomes a huge component in this equation, because the longer an asset is able to mature, the more compounding occurs and by default inflates the true interest you will receive. The rule that has always worked for people in these situations is the 80-20 rule. This is a beginner's strategy to ease people into the idea of investing rather than saving. The breakdown is as follows. The money you would originally use to save now has two allocations. 80% of that pot is used to invest into assets such as stocks, bonds, funds, or even cryptocurrencies, and the remaining 20% is to be saved as normal. This allows people to feel comfortable, but then also witness the pure brilliance of interest and compounding in full effect. People's 80% investment will grow and grow, whereas their 20% savings will stay stagnant and lose value. After time, people using this strategy tend to invest 100% of their money as an awakening occurs when the individual finally realizes the true power of money.